officially known as Jama'at as-Sunnah lid-Dawah wal Jihad, is a self-proclaimed jihadist terrorist organization based in northeastern Nigeria and also active in Chad, Niger, northern Cameroon, and Mali. The group has been causing havoc in northeast Nigeria for over 15 years, killing tens of thousands of people in frequent attacks against the police, armed forces, and civilians. Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds in madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps, that's what it's funding, Perry said. In a post via X on Tuesday, the US mission to Nigeria confirmed that monitoring systems are in place to track past assistance provided by the US government. The US mission also strongly condemned the ongoing violence and loss of life caused by Boko Haram in Nigeria. Comprehensive monitoring and evaluation systems are in place to help verify that US assistance reaches intended recipients. The United States condemns the violence and blatant disregard for human life perpetrated by Boko Haram and other terrorist groups in Nigeria and the region. The Secretary of State designated Boko Haram a foreign terrorist organization on November 14, 2013, to block the organization's assets and fundraising efforts, prosecute individual members, and restrict their travel to the United States. The United States continues to work with Nigeria and regional partners to counter terrorism, the Post read. In response to the alleged funding of Boko Haram by USAID, the Borno state government said it was awaiting the decision of the federal government on the next line of action. Speaking with one of our correspondents, the special advisor to Governor Babagana Zulum, Brig General Abdullahi Ishaq Ret-D, said the state government was not surprised by the allegation as the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, had mentioned some non-governmental organizations were financing the insurgency in the state. Have you listened to the interview of the Chief of Defense Staff on the attitudes of these NGOs? He was once here as a theater commander, and he has given a clue as to his experience when he was here. He said that they will say they are taking food somewhere, and before you know it, they will say the vehicle broke down. All of a sudden, the trailer load becomes empty. The signs have always been there. Concerning the probe of the NGOs working with USAID, he said, "It is not a state government thing. They got permission from the federal government to operate here, which is why they operate in so many places in Nigeria, and not Maiduguri alone. It is left for the federal government to decide. The decision will determine our stand. I just returned from a trip, so there is still some information I cannot authoritatively speak on currently," he said. In a recent interview on Al Jazeera, General Musa questioned how terrorist groups in Nigeria managed to sustain their operations despite sustained military offensives. He pointed to foreign financial and logistical support as a critical factor, enabling the persistence of these groups. The CDEs revealed that many surrendered or captured Boko Haram fighters had been found in possession of foreign currency, raising serious questions about their funding sources. As we speak, over 120,000 Boko Haram members have surrendered, and most of them came with hard currency. How did they get it? How are they funded? How did they get the training? How did they get the equipment? He asked. The CDs has also raised alarms over the suspicious activities of certain NGOs, citing instances where some of them, ostensibly providing humanitarian aid, paid up to 10 years' rent in advance for properties in insurgency-prone areas. He questioned the rationale behind such long-term commitments, asking whether these NGOs had foreknowledge that terrorism would persist for another decade. He then called on the United Nations to investigate the funding and training of Boko Haram terrorists. Now let's compare this news with the extract of our great leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast on the 10th of June 2020. Then you will begin to understand that there's something about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that is known by the powers that be, and that is why they had to go as far as Kenya to kidnap him and keep him in detention. Now let's dive right into it. An extract from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's broadcast on June 10, 2020, 61. Jonathan was toppled by a black man, Barack Obama, and he did so to protect the white supremacy. Gowan was in it too by killing Murtala Muhammad. Today, he is a prayer warrior. 62. I want blacks to understand this all over the world. A white man is not your problem is your stupidity and your treachery. 63. 16 days after Jonathan was sworn into office, the plan to remove him began with the help of Obama, the jihadist. Boko Haram was unleashed. 64. I am making this known so that when I go to US, Obama can sue me. Obama is a murderer and a jihadist, and I'm going to prove it to you. 65. Boko Haram was killing, and who was helping them? Obama, and who reported it? VOA. 66. Knowing all these things and knowing that Buhari was in bed with Boko Haram, Yoruba voted for him. Yoruba. Why? Because you are an enemy of fairness. 67. That's why they are for Tinubu. Instead of the president to go for the Igbos, Tinubu Yoruba will take it. He is a Muslim Yoruba. 68. Jonathan called Obama on phone without answer. Jonathan met Obama in Washington for help. Obama declined and told him point blank no. Obama refused because he was in support of Boko Haram in a bid to remove Jonathan and have a Muslim in power in Nigeria. 69. I know that Jonathan is listening, and his lovely wife too. That's why anyone going after her, Patience Jonathan will be shredded. Look at what